Coming up, we go shopping at Walmart, made easier by Aira, and Gmail. Who knew?
This is Double Tap, where blind people talk tech. Here's Stephen Scott and Shaun Preece.
Okay, I'm getting fed up with this accent thing, by the way. I don't say, hey, yeah. I don't say it like that.
Exactly what you just said.
That is not how I said it.
Gmail. Who knew?
Who
By
knew?
the way?
I know.
Who knew? It's actually not bad.
Do you know what? I'm kind of impressed. So we started using Gmail just the other week, and I went onto the web and I thought, do you know what I'm going to do? Do you know what I am going to do, Shaun Preece? I am going to learn how to use
How did that go,
the
Stephen
internet.
Scott?
Well, to be fair, I'm not actually that far off with that because, it kind of felt a little bit like learning the internet on day one. So I got one of the tutorials from APH, and I think it might have been Jaws as well. It may have been someone from Jaws actually on the APH webinar. I don't know which way around it was. But either way, it was a very interesting webinar that was on YouTube. And I sat and listened to the whole thing, and I did not fall asleep. I am a hero.
Well done, sir. Well done. So, yes, we've switched email providers, right?
Yeah. And look, we've always used Outlook. Well, I like Outlook, and I've always used it for a long time, especially on, I'll be honest, on the Mac. I think it's very good. It's very accessible. It works well.
Yeah, it's very good on the Mac.
PC's fine if you're not using NVDA. That's all I'll say. That's the only thing. Right? I mean, you know what? I must admit, I kind of talking a lot about NVDA recently and using JAWS or NVDA, which one's best. When you use Outlook with JAWS and then you use Outlook with NVDA, there's a few differences there. There's a few differences. Like, Shaun, now I'm starting to understand why you can't use a calendar.
I really struggle on the calendar. I don't know when to tab, when to arrow about. It's confusing to me, and it just lags for me, at least. But yeah, I'll have to take your word for that. I honestly can't remember what JAWS was like with Outlook. But to be fair, NVDA and just messing around with the emails, it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, messing around with the emails. Absolutely the professional way to think about it. Yeah. It's just there's stuff in there. I can delete it. I can never respond to it. It's great.
All right. Okay. So I have an issue trying to add a Gmail account to my Outlook at the minute. It won't do it. Okay. So I don't know what that's about, but it won't do it. So, okay, we can just do it old school, retro, if you like. We'll do it through the web. So went to gmail.com, and my experiences, although I must admit, hasn't been for years of using email through a website, has always been a bit, I'm not too sure. Navigation, using a screen reader. But the keyboard shortcuts that are made available in the Gmail, they're fine. I was using it just this morning, and I could get around pretty quickly. It was okay.
Kind of blew me away how good it was. And that's what kind of drove me to try it, because I knew with Google it would be accessible. It's kind of like Google's become like, the Apple. That doesn't feel right to say that, but, it's true. It's become like Apple in the sense that, I feel, okay, there's, I'm sure, a few issues along the way, but, might it be more accessible than other options out there? I think it probably will be. And certainly after listening to that webinar, and I will say this, there are a lot of resources out there for screen reader users. Now, the one I listened to was on JAWS. But as I very quickly learned, you don't actually need to know JAWS or use JAWS to actually benefit from that particular webinar, because everything they were talking about relating to Gmail and Gmail on the web in particular was commonplace, right? It's web-based commands. It's nothing to do with JAWS or any screen reader for that matter.
Yeah, it's the web accessibility. So as the usual, I mean, you'll be familiar with this with YouTube, for example. I use the web keyboard shortcuts all the time. And it doesn't matter what keyboard screen reader you're using, I should say. It's just built into the website. Same with Twitter used to have it. I don't know if it still does.
Yeah, no, it still does.
There's lots of others out there, and Gmail is no different. Now, I will say it does take some time to obviously learn these keyboard shortcuts, right? It's a whole new system, basically. I don't know if there's any sort of communal keyboard shortcuts across these sites. I honestly don't know.
There are, but the problem is it depends on what you're using. So if you're comparing, say, X or Twitter to Gmail, there's a similar methodology in the way it operates, but different commands to get you there. So, for example, you're dealing with folders, you're dealing with lists, you're dealing with a lot of different things on Gmail, whereas on X, you're dealing with a very simple list of items in front of you, which you use the J and K keys to move between. It's basically that's it, and you can go to the inbox with G and I, you can go home with G and H, those kind of things. So those kind of things apply, but it's a bit different. You've got a different layout. But all the keyboard commands are there. You have to enable them first. Doesn't seem to be by default. The keyboard commands are not on by default, which I find quite interesting. Yeah, I don't know why that is. I don't know if that's because for people who don't use a screen reader, this would get in the way. It might.
Yeah, I assume so. But, surely the technology exists to detect the screen reader. Well,
that's why I would have thought, yeah. If the screen reader could be detected, it must do that in other areas of Google Workspace, like in Docs, for example, it can determine that you've got a Braille display connected. It can determine a lot of other things, in order to function properly. Ultimately, though, the thing you have to understand using Gmail, and this I think is going to take us on an interesting little journey here, you and I, because, when Outlook came along with this new version, which is essentially a web-based version, we all thought, oh, God, here we go. I'm now feeling less nervous about it. If it's anything like Gmail, it's going to be okay. If it's anything like Gmail. I hope it is. I don't know, is the honest answer. It may be totally different.
No, it just sort of proves that how far, the online web apps have evolved, right? Because before it was, when it comes to accessibility, they were a nightmare. They just were. Very rare you could get to the elements inside of the app window itself. It was just terrible. But accessibility has come on leaps and bounds. Of course it's not perfect. Of course it's not. But they're definitely an option now. I agree with you. That sort of experience makes me think, maybe I should just take the time. Half of the battle is that, this is not what I'm used to.
Yeah, that's right.
I've got to learn something else. I will say, the common keyboard shortcut when it comes to web accessibility is the shift and slash, the question mark, which will bring up the help, which give you a list of keyboard shortcuts. But even that, I find it, when I do it, it's just a long sentence being spat out at me. Control Z, Control V, does this. It's like, okay, I want to arrow up and down through this table to see what they are individually. Yeah, that's not going to work for you. So you got to, figure your way around that and things. But yeah, I agree. I think, this is actually some thought's been put into it.
Yeah, and look, it might just be a simple case of there are these commonalities that exist among websites. And, like I say, on Gmail and X, they're going to be very different layouts, perhaps. So different keyboard commands are required. But ultimately, like I say, that structure behind it is the same. So if that's the case, if that's where we're headed, if this is where we're going, that actually, this kind of simpler way to be able to navigate around without using the mouse, because that's essentially how we're doing this, it's keyboard driven, then I think we're onto a good thing. As long as these, as long as this is followed by other apps and by other websites that are being created in this way. I don't know how these things are built. Someone who'd have to come on and explain all this to me. But I find it very interesting that these commonalities do seem to exist, and it's just a case of making sure that when something's built, it's following that. And if that's the case for X and it is for Gmail, then I'm imagining, I'd hope that it's the same for Outlook and others.
That's an interesting conversation. Is it a good thing? I mean, because it is all about the keyboard shortcuts, right? If you go from, website A to website B, and it's accessible through its own web-based keyboard shortcuts, but they're completely different to jump between different regions or landmarks or whatever else, then is that a good thing? Because you need to learn, it's almost like starting again.
So well, that's the problem. That's the problem we have right now. So, you go to a website and, someone put it brilliantly. I remember we had someone on, we were talking about gaming.
That'd be me.
No, it wasn't you. It was absolutely not you. But I remember someone coming on and saying that, it's like a game. Think of it like playing a game where you're on an adventure. So when you land on a website, you now have to navigate through that entire website, perhaps by heading, perhaps by elements, perhaps just by simply arrowing through every single element on the page with using the arrow keys. and just going from the top of the page to the bottom of the page to understand where you are in the same way you would in a game, in a map. You would move all the way around the game to figure out where you need to be, where you need to go, and all of that. And then when you go back the next time, you expect to be able to get to the home or the article start or whatever it might be, or the checkout or whatever it is you're looking for, the download button. You'll be able to find it because you know it's 5 clicks east, or 5 hits of the H button, or 5 Bs for button to get you to the download, or whatever it might be. We learn our way. If there's a quicker way to get there, which is actually more logical, because, you look at something like Gmail, right? It's a very difficult website to imagine getting around in that way, because there are so many items and so many things on that screen. And I suppose from that, coming to it from the visual perspective, even though I'm not using it visually, in my head, I'm kind of envisaging what I'm looking at here, which is a list of items, in that traditional kind of Outlook type way. You've got your list of emails, you've got a list of folders and a sidebar. And, in my head, before I even thought about going near this website, I thought, how on earth would I navigate all this? And then when you actually spend a bit of time and learn it, who knew? But again, the accessibility has to be in there, right? Because there could be many other examples of this where we've seen these types of websites turn up and they're absolutely not accessible at all. So, kudos to Google for putting in the effort here.
Well, okay. So I suppose the debate is, should a website be accessible through the standard screen reader keyboard shortcuts? So, for example, why have I got to use specially website-assigned keyboard shortcuts to select the email that I'm on Gmail, right? Which is X. That's what you use to select the email that I'm currently on in the list. Then to delete it is the hash key.
Yeah.
Okay? Fine. Now I've learned it. Fine. I can zip through it, delete, select the ones I want to delete, hit the hash key, deleted. Perfect. But why? Why can't I just, up an arrow through that list and then hit space to select and the delete key to delete? Why are we using a different way? Is it because of the accessibility, it just isn't in place and they're doing it their own way?
It's probably because if you think about it, if you were to hit spacebar on that email, it would take you into the email, so it wouldn't select it in that traditional way.
Should take you into it, shouldn't it?
Well, space might as well. It depends again on what you land on in terms of the element, right?
Or a checkbox next to it in the column before that for selecting.
So it comes back to that point we've made many, many times about things like WhatsApp. It's about efficiency. So yes, you absolutely can use Gmail in that way. In fact, there's 2 views, I believe, that you can use it in. There's standard view, which is this view where you can use these keyboard commands like G and H to go home, or G and I to inbox, whatever it is. I'm forgetting them all now, but when I go onto the website, I seem to manage to find my way.
You just press everything.
Yeah, pretty much. I just hit G and then something, and it takes me there. G and L to get you to labels, which is folders, that kind of thing, right? So it's basically doing that jump for you to the section you want to get to. If you can use, I think they call it basic view. I think that might be right, but it may have changed, because I know, for example, when I listened to that APH webinar, some of the things when I had gone onto the website had changed. So obviously a lot of things are updating all the time. One thing in particular was that you could very easily get to that keyboard shortcuts toggle button. For some reason, they've changed it. It used to be you could go to the as soon as you got to the Gmail website, you would just arrow down a couple of times and there was an option to enable the keyboard shortcuts. There was a toggle. Now you have to go into the keyboard command guide to enable it there. Don't know why that changed, but it did. So,
and it's not very consistent, I find. So you do the question mark, shift / and the window pops up, and I tab, expecting the very next thing I hit to be enable if they're disabled or
but
disabled. It's not. It's not always. Sometimes it says inbox. So hang on, have I jumped out of this window? And tab again, and I'm back in it. So, yeah. Also, you can get there by going to the settings as well. If you go to settings, it's under keyboard accessibility keyboard shortcuts. You can enable it there.
But as well, look, I mentioned this today, and it might feel a little bit like a who knew. Loads of you might be saying, I've been using Gmail for years. What are you talking about? This is brilliant.
Yeah, late to the party.
But I don't know. I think there's a lot of people who will still be like me, who will be using an email client of some kind. It might be Mail on the Mac. It might be Outlook on the PC. We're using that traditional desktop situation, that traditional desktop application.
It's the way we always have done, yeah.
Because we feel that it's more accessible. But my thinking is that long term, we're probably going to have to get used to a world where more and more apps are going to disappear and become web-based. Because it seems to be that with development teams, what these companies have figured out is, well, we can cut down on the development of all these different apps for all these different platforms, and we just build one wonderful website, and that goes to everything. Now, as long as it's accessible, and unfortunately a lot of the time it isn't, but if it is accessible, we win. But we just have to get used to working in that world. And so, with Outlook, we've had this conversation before about Outlook, where it's like, you know what, you just have to dive in. You got to do it. You got to figure it out at some point. And I was really resistant to Outlook. But after this Gmail thing, and only because I just took it upon myself, I had a spare afternoon, and I thought, you know what people do with a spare afternoon? They might go shopping. They might, go out for the visit family. I'll watch a webinar on how to use Gmail online. That's the kind of thing I do. But and it paid off. It paid off because it's actually given me a lot more confidence on the web. I just want to say very quickly, though, because it's important to say this. You have to learn about your various cursors. We've talked about this before. We've got some people who are going to come on in the future and talk about this in more detail. But there are lots of different types of cursors that you can use in your screen reader. And it's very important, for example, if you're using JAWS, to turn your virtual cursor off. You do that with Insert Z. And that is what will turn off the virtual cursor. That is how you can use those keyboard commands. Because if you didn't, and you hit, let's say, J, that would take you to the jump dialog, which is JAWS' way of jumping you to a different line on the page. So that's not going to work. H would be for heading, for example. So if you said G and H, it wouldn't make any sense to the website. So you have to turn that virtual cursor off, and then you can control the website. It doesn't do it automatically. Kind of wish it could. I wonder if there's a way of doing that. I'm sure someone will have figured out a way. Maybe on a certain website you can command it to do that. But the problem is that you do still need that virtual cursor when you compose an email. So let's say you're in Gmail. As soon as you go in, you turn off the virtual cursor. That would be the case on any of your screen readers. So on NVDA, it would be NVDA space would turn that off. Or did yours turn off automatically? I think you said yours came off.
Yeah, as soon as I go onto the Gmail site and it jumps onto the list of emails, it puts me in browse, what's it called? Is it read mode? So, that's the one I need.
So it does it itself. That's good. Okay, so once you're in that mode, you can arrow up and down, as Shaun says, arrow up and down the list. Let's say you wanted to go into a particular email, or maybe you want to start a new email. Well, you would just hit C for compose, and that brings up the window. Now, at that point, you have to turn your virtual cursor back on, because at that point you're back to the traditional method of moving around with tabs and arrows and buttons and all the rest, because you're going to be typing in. You're going to be typing, so you need the virtual cursor to be on so that you can go into a form field and actually type in it. So there's a little bit of learning involved to do it, but I have to tell you, I am an idiot most of the time, and I figured this out, and I'm actually quite happy about that.
Well done. Yeah, no, it's very cool. And look, I'm sure people are, like, as you said, shaking their heads, going, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, really? I know.
You come into this late, but I think a lot of people will be, we're so used to how we've done things before, and when you come across something like this, it is a little bit scary, especially when you're trying to do things, get things done, and I've got to do this now. As soon as I could not add the Gmail account to my Outlook, I thought, oh, well, that's it. I'm
well,
done.
That's right. That's the other thing, right? You're still having this issue. I think your issue, though, is that you're an idiot.
Dare you? Yes, please don't email in with, well, you can do, actually, with solutions. As soon as I enter my email address and I choose it's Google, it then asks me for the server details. Now, I do have the server details, IMAP, and...
It's just google.com.
No,
put that
it's
in.
not.
Just type in google.com. Absolutely fine. Just type that in, honestly. Okay, hang on. mail@google.com.
No, don't listen to Stephen. And I got the port number. I put it all in.
24.
And then it takes me to... Don't listen to him. It takes me to Google to allow access. And then it takes me to something called localhost.
Oh.
And then it says, cannot find localhost. So
go for drinks and nibbles?
It's trying to do something on my own computer. So anyway, It won't do it. And I'm sure I can find a fix for it.
Just uninstall it all and start again.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. But, I'm just... The website actually this isn't bad.
Well, that's
Do
the
I
thing,
really
right? You're
need to
actually
go through the
getting.
hoops?
Yeah, I think as well. I hate to say it, but the benefit of what you're doing is that's going to stick in your mind better, right? If you were only doing that for a couple of days, then you'll be so used to doing it, and you'll learn a lot more. I mean, we were looking today at things like how to save attachments, and then you start getting into down that rabbit hole of, okay, so can I automatically save these voicemails we get from the show? Can we get them directly into our Google Drive?
Google Drive, yeah, Google App Scripting. We're going to look into that. Yeah.
Oh God, actually, yeah, maybe not. Yeah, I'm happy to use those commands, but as soon as you mentioned scripting, I just run for the hills. But that's pretty cool. Also, you have been because we were talking about the Apple thing that I do love about Apple Macs is that whenever you go to an audio file or any file, frankly, on your desktop, video and audio for us in particular, because you want to very quickly maybe listen to an audio file, you can just hit spacebar on it and it'll start playing it because it has this preview function. So preview on the Mac lets you just literally hit the spacebar on a file and it'll play it. So you don't have to really do any more than that. And I said to you when we were going through some emails the other day and we were listening to some things, I said, God, on the Windows side, it was so much quicker if I could just do the same thing here. And then Shaun went off. Yeah, I was whinging and whining. And then you went off and found a solution.
I did, just like that. It was absolutely amazing. Yeah, well, I think I found a solution. So in the Windows Store, I found something called Quick Look. All one word, Quick Look. It's a free little utility, and it does exactly what you want it to do. So you go through a list of files, and you just hit space on it. And it will preview whatever that file is. Now, it does support images and text and documents, but obviously I'm just using it for audio files. And it doesn't matter what the format is. There's a large number of supported formats, WAV, FLAC, OGG, or whatever it may be, MP3s. And as soon as you hit space, it will start playing that file. And hit space again, and it will stop. Now, I thought that was it, but I did by accident. I hit space to start playing a file, and then I just arrowed down to the next file, and then it just started playing that one straight away. So I could preview a whole list of audio files just by arrowing up and down, and whatever file I was on, it would start playing.
Yeah, that's good.
It was really good. Now, I will say, the reason I say I think I found a solution, I've only been using it a few days, and there is no way to put focus on the actual Quick Look window, which I assume is open. I don't know, but reading the description, it says there are controls in the Quick Look window. So, for example, if you're previewing a image, then you can zoom in and do other things with it. Now, there's no way as a screen reader user I can access the Quick Look window. As far as I know, I've tried alt-tabbing around, maybe with a screen review, but at the minute, I can't. But for me, for my purpose of audio previewing, it's really good. And you know what? I agree with you, Stephen. That Mac feature is really useful.
Oh, it's an amazing feature of the Mac. And, even with text files, if you use VoiceOver, it'll start reading out the contents of the text file as well, which is really good. So, you can instantly get that information about what you're on, what the file is, and, what the contents are.
I haven't tried that. I haven't tried it with a text file to see if it will automatically start reading it out, but I don't think it would. But yeah, we'll have to try that next.
There's nothing in NVDA that can do this, right? It's not like an add-on, or there's nothing that we're aware of that can do that.
Oh, not that I've seen, but maybe you know better. Let us know. Feedback at doubletaponair.com.
Oh, I see. Right. Yeah, I thought you meant me for a second there. No.
Well, no, of course not. I wouldn't. I did find a cool little add-on as a little aside here for NVDA called Pleasant Progress Bar. And it changes that.
Yes.
Beep, 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 beep. It changes it to a different sound. Now, I think there's only 2, 3, something like that, different sound effects. And you can't, they're nothing weird, like Stephen's favourite sound effects. But they just change it. And it is nice. It's just nice to have that change. So, check that out. It's a nice little add-on.
It'd be cool if you could... I'm trying to think what I would like as my progress bar sound.
The incorrect sound effect, maybe?
No. I actually think maybe like a Scottish person who's, starting off on the level of slightly irritated all the way up to extremely annoyed.
Like that video you sent me at 3 a.m., you mean?
Yes.
So you must watch this, and it was the most annoying, loud...
I think on YouTube one day, what we should do is we should get Mark Aflalo on, and we should make him listen to that video that I sent you last night and see how many words in it. He understands.
Oh, was that the test? See, I must be with you so long now. I understood everything. So
I said, so for those who don't know, so well, you won't know because I said it to Shaun. But I sent Shaun a message last night at 3 a.m. because this video I came up against, which I find so funny. It's not overly humorous, I suppose, but parts of it are. And basically, it's a guy out of the UK called Limmy, who is a Scottish comedian. And he devotes his time on Twitch these days. He doesn't have a show anymore, but he has this. He had a show on TV, and it was like a TV sketch show. And in it, he had all these different sketches. But the whole thing was done on his iPhone, with just him. He didn't have any camera crew or anyone. It was just him and his phone, and he recorded the whole thing. And this particular scene was about a plasterer who was in and out of this person's house doing the work on the house, and just the kind of jovial workman, shall we say, in the house. But it had a darker side to it. But it was it was funny. It was quite funny.
It was incredibly strong Scottish accent.
That's the problem. And if you can get past that part, that's fine. But that was the bit that I think a lot of people stumbled at. Because someone I saw in the comments had written, "This sounds wonderful. I just have no idea what this guy is saying."
Yeah. Where's the subtitles?
See, so I think some people say that about me sometimes as well. Listen, I want to mention quickly to the good people of Ramblio. I love a bit of rambling.
Oh, hello, Ramblio.
Yeah, well, you remember I said to you, I should get back on there, but, I can't remember how to get on it. And you said, yeah, because it's a test flight app. You have to download the test flight app, and then you can install it through test flight. It's still in beta, yeah. So that's what I did, because I'm an idiot and I forgot. So I went off and downloaded it. And last night I jumped on. They've added a new thing, which is live rooms. So you can create a live room, very Clubhouse style. You can go on, you can talk to people, you can bring people onto the stage, and you can have a conversation. It's very Clubhouse, actually. And
but accessible.
Unlike
Clubhouse.
Absolutely. So I go in, and I hear, someone called Stephen Scott's joined. Hello, Stephen Scott. So I'm trying to speak, and I'm saying, hello, everybody, hello. And not a word, no one's hearing me. So I thought, okay, no idea what's going on here. So there I am sitting, and then I proceed to listen to, and I'm not joking, I literally am listening to a conversation of people saying, oh, that's that guy from that Double Tap show. I never listened to that show. Yeah, I don't listen to it either. Do you listen to it? I listen to it all the time. And someone says, and this is the best bit, someone says, oh, I only listen to it for Shaun Preece, not the other guy.
Oh, thank you, Ramblio.
I was told to say hello to you from Duchess.
Oh, the Duchess. I know the Duchess, of course, an excellent night manager.
Well,
hello,
there you
Duchess.
go. Well, the Duchess is on your side, 100%.
God bless the Duchess.
So when I finally got on, I had to say, thank you for my warm welcome to this Ramblio.
Thank you for not listening to Double Tap.
Well, those who did listen, some people were very, very firm in their decision never to listen.
Yes,
not because of the show, but just because they just don't listen to podcasts, which is fair enough.
Fair enough. That's all right.
Totally
it's
fine.
Okay.
But if you are listening to us for the first time because you found us on Ramblio or you've been listening to us, then hello to you.
What, listen to you not being able to use a mic on Ramblio would have brought a lot of listeners in.
I think a lot of people would be happy to even pay money for that. Yeah, there you go, Ramblio, if you're looking for a way to monetize.
I like Ramblio.
Yes,
it's very good, by the way. And then it seems pleasant enough last time I was in there.
So it's a really nice bunch of people, yeah.
Yeah, and you can also visit it through the website as well, ramblio.com.
Yeah. No, I haven't tried that. I haven't tried it. But I might now with all my Gmail skills.
Yeah, well, and all your friends on Ramblio. Yeah, okay.
Well, your friends on Ramblio would appear. Right, look, coming up next, we're going to revisit a conversation we did earlier the year with the good folks over at Aira. But first, if you want to, get involved in the show, perhaps, send us a little message. Here's how.
Get in touch with Double Tap. Email feedback@doubletaponair.com. Leave us a voicemail at 1-877-803-4567. And now you can send an audio or video message to us on WhatsApp. That number is 1-613-481-0144.
Now, you might have heard a lot about Aira recently and Walmart. Well, we did chat with Janine Stanley from Aira and also Michael Babcock, our good friend, who went out to trial using Aira at Walmart. And here's a chance to hear that conversation again. A friend of the show back with us, Janine Stanley from Aira. Great to have you here with your Aira Fedora today, Janine.
Yes, I'm Fedora-less today. So
Fedora-less. Wow.
Fedora-less, yes.
Oh, no, what's happened?
Unfortunately.
She's in professional mode today.
That's right. That's right.
Well, it's great to have you here, and also friend of the show back with us. All the friends are here. Michael Babcock is with us again. Hey, Michael.
Hello, thanks for having me, and it's always a pleasure. I think it's been, a week since I've been on? Something like that.
At least, yeah.
No.
Yeah. Although it's not going to be a week till you're back, because you're going to be joining us again very soon, but we'll talk about that a bit later. But yeah, I want to focus today on Aira, and I think it's a good chance, Janine, because we were saying off air before we came on, it's a great opportunity for people to learn about the service from the sort of ground up, right? Because we talk about these services all the time. They become words that just trip off our tongue. A lot of new listeners to our show have joined us over time, and I think they hear these words like, oh, Aira's really great, and they go, yeah, but what is Aira? So Janine, what is Aira?
So, Aira is a visual interpreting service. And what that means is if you think about sign language interpreting for people who are deaf, this is the same for us, except it involves visual kinds of interpreting. So eyes in your pocket is a really quick way to think about it, or that sighted person who knows what they're doing to assist you anytime you need it. And when we talk about access partners, like we will here in a minute, that means that they are paying for your use of Aira. So your use of that assistance is covered.
It's funny when you say know what they're doing. And Stephen mentioned agents before, because, of course, we're video calling now, right? There's no reason you couldn't WhatsApp video call, FaceTime video call, whatever you want. Call a friend or family member and say, hey, help me out here, because they can see whatever your camera is pointing at. But the difference here with Aira, it is all about the agents, isn't it? I mean, people who are trained to, how many of us have asked a stranger, where's the door from here, or where's this building?
Over there, Sean, over there.
Exactly right. And they will point, or they get their left and rights mixed up all the time. That's where training is so important, right?
Absolutely. And our visual interpreters, we used to call them agents, and we still slip up and call them that a lot. But our visual interpreters actually go through a lot of training and continuous training. So it's not just, you're trained and you're out there in the world. No, they go through continuous training, and they have a lot of tricks that they can do. For example, they can see your GPS position. And now they can do that when you're using the Meta Ray-Ban glasses too. So that's good. But they can also pull up store maps. They can pull up transit schedules. They can do all kinds of things while they're on the call to assist you that maybe your average family member can't do.
Those maps make a huge difference. I used Aira extensively during CSUN. And if you've ever been to CSUN, you probably know why I used Aira extensively during CSUN. And I would say, hey, I'm at CSUN. Can you help me get to this place? And by the time I got all of that out of my mouth, the agents had the map pulled up and they were guiding me through, and it was seamless. And I am excited to play with it with the Ray-Bans this year.
Oh, yeah. And we have folders for all of these events and partners and whatnot that the agents can pull stuff from. So we try to prepare for all of these things.
Michael, tell me about some of the other ways you use Aira of everyday use.
So I use Aira a lot for filling out forms. So forms are more accessible now than they probably have been in the past. But frankly, I don't have time to fiddle around with the forms and figure out if I'm putting stuff in the right place. So I find myself just opening the Aira desktop app in the browser and getting my form and uploading it to them and saying, hey, can you help me fill this out? Quick pro tip, get all of the information you think you need, plus a little bit extra just in case. That way everything is streamlined and you can just give them the details that they need. I use Aira a lot for navigation, especially through airports whenever I go and fly places. And I used the Ray-Bans with Aira over the summer for the first time. I think, it was at ACB. And it was an amazing experience that I can't put into words with how freeing it was to have one of my hands free, the other hand with a cane, and be able to carry my coffee while getting visual interpretation service in my ears without having to pin my phone against the cup of coffee and hold it in front of me, which I have done that as well. And then the last thing that I'll mention that I use Aira for is anything that I don't want to bother my wife with. So my wife can see, which means naturally she gets to be my first call when I need some help, and the kids are usually the second one. anyone. And so I will pull out my phone and just call Aira. I did it the other day. Don't tell anyone, but she made handmade loop blankets. So they're loop yarn, and she made them for everyone for Christmas. Well, that means they need to get washed on the delicate setting on the washer. Well, I had real laundry I had to do, none of that blanket laundry. And so I called Aira up. I'm like, hey, can you help me? But here's one of the cool things is my son is down from Alaska, and he was sleeping in the living room, and our laundry's right off of the living room. So I went in, typed a message using BSI, checked the box that says I can't talk right now, and then the Aira agent was able to just quickly give me the information I needed through my Meta Ray-Bans, so I could easily get the information, easily switch the washer over to heavy, and then do the laundry, and I didn't even have to say a word.
I'm thinking, Shaun, about you and your card issues that you've been having recently, where you've had to read your card number from your credit card or from your bank card. Now, this is something you cannot lean on a volunteer to do. You really do need to have someone on the other side that you can trust. And that is where I think Aira can be quite useful.
Oh, absolutely. With any, you're sharing some data here. Now, if it's your, washing machine interface or whatever else, then usually you don't care. But there's certain information, certain letters, maybe if you're going through your mail, that you don't want to share with absolutely anyone. There needs to be, as you said, with someone you trust. And of course, the other day I needed my card details off my debit card to pay for something. I haven't picked up my credit or card in years. I have no idea. I've forgotten totally what the number was. But how do you read that? I mean, I tried the obvious Seeing AI, various OCRs, couldn't quite make it out because the card is quite old now and battered and faded. So that didn't work for me. So where else can you turn, really? So you've got that trust, and that is important with Aira.
And Janine, maybe speak a bit to that, because I think people, we're all a little bit concerned, or at least I am still concerned about privacy. I know if you're, 18 these days, you don't seem to care about privacy because you're happy to give any piece of information to the internet. But, for those of us who still are concerned about privacy and perhaps should be about sharing our data, especially with AI services, this is where that human-to-human interaction is important, but also having that security, knowing the information you're sharing remains private.
Absolutely. And we have a lot of security measures in place to make sure that your information does not leave us at all. We only use your calls for training purposes, but you can also turn that off if you want. If you say, I'm in a sensitive area, I don't want this call recorded, you can do that. Absolutely. We are HIPAA compliant for folks here in the U.S., where that can be something that's important with medical information or rehabilitation type information. So we have a lot of safeguards. And if you want to know about that, we're happy to provide you with some white papers on it. Just contact us.
Now, I mentioned earlier that we want to show it in action, and Aira very kindly invited us along. Well, I say us, actually Michael, to a Walmart store. That's because there aren't any Walmarts in the UK. So we thought, hang on, how's this going to work? And look, Shaun and I were very keen to get flown business class out to Florida or wherever Michael is, and go along and do that. But instead, we thought, let's just ask Michael to go along. So look, set this up for us, because you went along to this Walmart store, and we'll talk a little bit about the Aira access and the relationship in a moment. I want to show this in action. So set this up for us. Set the scene for what we're about to hear and see.
Well, there is a Walmart, totally opposite side of the United States as Florida, in Oregon, where I live. And it is about 3 blocks away from my house. So we went to that Walmart, and I opened my Aira app, and I said, hey, that's pretty cool. It's an Aira access point. Because honestly, we live in a small town. You don't expect that some of these things that are going to hit national chains are actually going to apply to our little rural Coos Bay, Oregon. And so when I opened it up, it let me know, hey, access here is free. And I was able to call an Aira agent, and we were able to get connected, and they could see either through my Meta Ray-Bans or through my lonely iPhone 14 Pro Max camera. All right, so I turned on Meta glasses, and we will make a call.
Hi, thanks for calling Ira. This is Diane. What would you like to do today?
Hey, Diane, I need to use the Meta Ray-Ban to go find some stuff here at Walmart.
Hey, that's exciting. Let me go ahead and get a link for you. And have you used your Ray-Bans before?
I have. It's been a couple of days, so I don't know if you guys have changed the process, but I imagine you'll send me a link and I tap on that and it switches me over to WhatsApp.
You got it exactly.
Okay.
All right, let me go ahead and paste that in, and I will see you over there momentarily.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
I can see out your Meta glasses, and I see the Walmart parking lot.
Perfect. Well, that's what you should see. So we need to go find quart-size Ziploc bags.
Quart-size Ziploc bags.
And I believe we'll go into this door up here and go inside and head straight back if I am correct.
Well, I am seeing that household and paper is all the way in the back, so I bet you're right.
Alrighty.
So let's take a look. So up ahead, you're going to have a jog to your left here. So step out to the left, the wall bends. There you go. And now continuing back to the right. And I do see one of the side entrance doors up ahead here.
Okay.
And this is a pull door.
Okay.
The control is on the right-hand side. So you're coming to it, step to your right, and there it is. So we are going to pause right here. Person stopped right in front of you. There you go. All right. So you are, if you look slightly to your left, give me about 15 degrees to the left. The way you're looking right there is an aisle to go straight back. So if we continue down that aisle, we're going to go down past, stay to the right to stay in the aisle. There you go. Oncoming car, they should, cart. Not car in the Walmart. That would be
weird. Hello.
There he is. Continuing forward. We got a person crossing. You could look a little bit to your left. Right ahead of you with a cart, just to let you know. And if you look to the right, I can see that this aisle is toilet paper and other paper products. Let me go ahead and look up quart-size Ziplocs in the app
I'll step
here.
over here so we're out of the way.
We are at, let me pull it up on the map. I love that Walmart gives us that option.
Makes it handy.
All right, so turn to your right.
Okay.
And it should be this aisle. Yep, let's go up this aisle. We've got Kleenex. We've got toilet tissue. May I see across the aisle to the left? Nope, it's not this aisle. We're going to hit the top of this aisle and take a right and go down the next one.
Okay.
So you are here at the top of the aisle, hard right. And going forward, hard right. Okay, so there we go. We've got Reynolds wrap on your right-hand side. Now we've got bags.
Okay.
Let's see, we need quart size. We've got Hefty brand quart. These are currently a rollback.
Ooh.
I can see that these are on sale for $3.14 for
Sounds
a
good to me.
package of 40.
Perfect.
So if you reach out one of your free hands, and I can, now that one is a 20 count. If you come to your right, keep coming. There you go. That is a 40 count, and that is on sale.
Perfect. So we're gonna go and go find a cashier and check out with these. Oh, I need aluminum foil as well. I forgot about that.
All right. Well, that is right up here.
Yeah, Reynolds. I think you said right up here.
Yes, it is. Pause right here on your left. And, you know, they've got the pre-cut every day. They've got just a regular
Just a roll is
75-foot roll. All right, reach out to your left there and look to your left and let me confirm. All right, that one is 75 feet.
This one?
And yes, sir.
Perfect. We'll just go with that.
And when we get up to checkout, do you want a self-checkout or would you like to go to an aisle that's manned?
Self-checkout's fine. We can try that.
Great. Okay, so the first thing we have is the way it's set up is you've got a touch screen and your hand is currently
under your hand. There
so,
you go.
is she wanting to provide support?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. All right, you are past the obstacle.
You're amazing. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Have a good one.
To the left.
Stay to your right here. Continue, and now when that transitions now, turn left, and we are headed to the exit.
Right.
And if you, the way you're angling, you're going towards the outdoor, which is currently open. Step one to your right, and that'll get you in line with it. There you go, opening up, and you are outside.
That's all I needed today. So thank you. I appreciate it.
It is my pleasure. I hope you have a good afternoon.
You as well. We'll talk again soon. Bye.
So So, I think just a wonderful description there of how it works. And of course, getting the sense of you going into the store and getting around and dealing with a lot of information audibly there, but useful information, Michael, right? Giving you that navigation information, in this case, through your glasses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I will say, so I did it both with the glasses and with my phone. And the glasses was hands down a lot easier. I do want to say she's probably not watching, but to the old lady that I almost tripped while I was trying to navigate with my phone and my cane, I am very sorry. Just wanted to say that out there. But yeah, it was a lot of information. It kind of was demonstrated there. I went through the self-checkout. Very first time I've ever put my hands on a self-checkout machine. Usually it's my wife who does it. And the Aira agent was trying to help with that. And we had a very nice lady who came up and was like, everyone else was staring at me, trying to figure out what I was doing. And this lady just came up and she's like, here you go. Let me help you real quick. And we got everything checked out. And then we were able to just move on with no speech output on the Walmart self-checkouts. But having that flexibility to say, hey, today I want to try the self-checkout, and giving me that opportunity was amazing. And then, as you heard, we went in, found what we needed, went on with my day. And then I got home and my wife said, no, I wanted the gallon size bags or something like that. So of course I got the full experience of going to the store and getting the wrong thing.
Well
Just
done.
like anyone else.
That's exactly how it works.
That was so cool. It's just such a perfect example for anyone, as you said, Stephen, who's, we mention Aira and these services all the time, but for anyone who's never experienced it before, I mean, that was just a fantastic example. That's exactly what it's like.
Listen, I want to, just pick up on this point with Walmart, because this is something which is something quite common with Aira now. You have these access partners. Explain that to those who don't know what that means.
So access partners are organizations. They can be corporations, they can be governments, they can be schools, whatever. And they are paying for the time that you use Aira, either at their location or when you are using their product, etc. And in the case of Walmart, we have them geofenced, which means that we put a little parameter around the Walmart store that includes the sidewalk and parking lot leading up to the store. Because if you can't get in, you're not going to shop. And if you're going there, on public transit and the bus drops you off and there's a mile-long parking lot between you and the store, that's kind of an intimidating thing to have to do. So we geofence the parking lots and everything, and Walmart pays for your service to get you in those doors while you're there. They also cover Walmart.com because many of us shop online now.
I mean, it's really cool how the Aira Access partnerships work, but what I'm keen to know is how it relates to the stores themselves. When Michael went into the store, it almost felt like that agent knew exactly where Michael should go. So what information do they have access to, and is that part of the partnership as well?
Yes, it is. When we do a partnership with a store, or, well, for example, retail places like Walmart, we talk to them about their store maps. How can our interpreters get hold of those maps so that we can help people get to what they need to get to? And also tell them about things like, if I asked, are there any specials today? Then the interpreter can look that up as well. Our interpreters use the Walmart app, for example, to get to your particular store, because each store is just a tiny bit different. And so they use that app to look things up exactly in your store where you are. And they've got other tips and tricks that they use. For example, your GPS position in the parking lot, along with your camera. So access partners really, it's a mutual relationship. And in the end, Walmart wants you to spend money. And that's why they are saying, look, we're going to provide access so we can make it easier for you to spend your money with us.
Oh, that's nice of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the raw motive. I mean, access is great and altruistic, but really any company, they realize that the disability market is huge. We have money, we want to spend it, and we want to spend it wisely on, products that we want at prices that we want.
Yeah, of course. Look, and so there's going to be some cynical people out there who's going to say it's only, because they want you to spend your money, which, as you say, is true. That's how business works. But also, it's funny because we were just talking about this a couple of days ago, me and my partner, about when we used to go to the supermarket back in the day when we had enough vision to do that. And we kind of miss it. Everything is, okay, it's easy to set up and do it online groceries now, big shop every week and just hit a button and it turns up absolutely fine. But sometimes I do miss just being able to walk around and hearing Michael do it there and how easy it was and just, I don't know, having that confidence and that reassurance of someone's there to help you out. I'd love to do that.
And using Aira, it was really nice to be able to hear what was around me. There was a couple of times where I wanted to figure out a nice way to say "shut up and let me concentrate," but it was
which you
also
can always say, Michael. You can always tell your interpreter that.
Yeah. But it was nice knowing, hey, you're walking by the fake wine, or hey, you're walking by this, and if I changed my mind or I remembered, oh yeah, I'm supposed to pick this up, I had that flexibility versus the just go in, get what you need, and then go on. I could go walk around Walmart like any other person now and have ask, hey, can you describe the people you see? Hey, can you describe what you're seeing and the items and all that type of stuff?
And Walmart has a lot of other services that people take advantage of. There's usually a bank there. There's hair cutting and optical and hearing aids and all kinds of things there that you may not even be going in to buy groceries or, anything else, but you may be going to one of those businesses.
I do have to ask you about connection because whenever I go inside a building, I often get cut off from Aira or I have difficulty connecting. Is this something you deal with partners to get access to Wi-Fi so that you have a solid signal when you're in there?
We do explain to them that occasionally, in parts of their stores, especially around the freezer cases in the grocery areas, you may have some connection issues. And some partners have actually changed up their Wi-Fi a little. Walmart has generally been really good at connectivity. So if you're having connection issues at a particular Walmart, let us know, and we will try to reach out to them and see what we can do to try to improve that. But yeah, connectivity has not been a big problem at Walmart.
Yeah, I mean, you had no issues with your visit, Michael. I mean, there didn't seem to be any issues at all on your call.
I had one time where the video froze up, and I think that was more related to the Ray-Bans and not the connectivity issue. Yeah. Because I double-clicked the arm button, it went back over to the phone, which all she saw was my pocket, and then I double-clicked the arm button again, and she had video feed from the Meta Ray-Bans. So I don't think that was related to the connectivity in the store, just the Bluetooth connection. But yeah, for the most part, it worked well. And the agent was even asking me when we were going through that troubleshooting, are you connected to the Wi-Fi at Walmart? And I'm like, I didn't even know Walmart had Wi-Fi. So nope, I sure am not.
Yeah. And a lot of them have 5G Wi-Fi. So it's, it's pretty advanced Wi-Fi. So because they use their app a lot in store for customers and for the shoppers that are picking up, the delivery orders. So it's important, I think, more and more for stores to have good Wi-Fi.
Guys, it's been great being with you today. Thank you for sharing the news about Aira and Walmart and supporting us here at Double Tap to bring the story to you and for getting Michael out there to Walmart to test this out and show us all how it works. Janine, how can people sign up for Aira, find out more about it?
You can visit our website at aira.io, or you can call our customer care team, and that's 1-800-835-1934, or support@aira.io.
That was Janine Stanley and Michael Babcock talking to us there, of course, just as the news was coming out that Aira were working with Walmart. And, it's, as you were saying, we've heard this with Be My Eyes recently in the UK with Tesco. The ability for us to be able to shop independently is something some of us maybe haven't dreamed of, but, some might have dreamed of. And if so, now you can at those stores.
I want to have a mooch about now. Yeah, exactly. It's those sort of things. Just having the freedom, right? The independence, the opportunity to do it. Yeah, really cool. Always keep an eye on the Aira Access Partners, by the way. Just Google it, Aira Access Partners. It'll take you to the website. I believe it's aira.io/r-partners. Check it out because it's always growing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, quick note ahead of tomorrow's show, we're going to be giving you a chance to hear our conversation with Chris McCausland, the blind comedian from the UK, talking about his experience of winning the UK's Strictly Come Dancing competition, and also a lot more that he talks about with us, including getting, let's just say, a little bit emotional and quite real at points, especially with you, Shaun Preece, because, of course, you two both have the same eye condition, retinitis pigmentosa.
That's right, yes. I went backstage with Chris, my mate, of course. Yeah, no, he's a great guy and incredibly funny, by the way.
Incredibly funny guy, yeah. The new book is just coming out, or in fact, is out by now, so you can go check that out. We are going to be catching up with Chris again very soon to talk about that book, which he's very kindly given us the opportunity to listen to. He's given me the opportunity to listen to an audiobook.
I know.
Slow TV, Chris, come on.
But this is Chris, read by Chris, by the way, as well.
It is, yeah. That's my first question for him. How did he read the book? That's what I want to know.
Exactly.
That's the first thing I was asking and thinking about. How did he actually read that book? That's the first question we'll ask him when we get him back on. But yeah, you can hear our earlier conversation with Chris on tomorrow's show, and we'll catch you again soon. Thanks, Shaun.
Thank you. Bye-bye.